Today I'm here to give my prediction and speculation for The Walking Dead Season 5, Episode 3, entitled Four Walls and a Roof. If you enjoy The Walking Dead, please feel free to subscribe right here for more Walking Dead related videos. The plot for the synopsis for this episode reads, Rick and the group find themselves pinned against some very nasty people, but they might just have a plan to gain the upper hand. In this episode, Rick's inner beast and brutality side will be reawoken in this episode. So let's get started with my predictions, speculations. In this episode, I think the hunters will end up giving Bob back to Rick and the rest of the group, because in the Walking Dead comic book, the same thing happened with Dale. The hunters end up catching Dale. They end up eating his meat. Dale ends up laughing at them, and they ask Dale why he's laughing, and Dale tells them, "You fools." But he doesn't directly say what I say with the fools part, but he does insult them and tell them why he's laughing. He tells them that I've been bitten already. That's the reason why I came out here to the woods to die. So you're eating tainted meat right now. So the hunters get mad. They take Dale, and they take him and they throw him back or give him back to Rick and the rest of the group. But in the process of them doing this, they're also defending themselves, fighting Rick and the rest of the Rick group back. Now, in the promo for episode 3, we see Rick outside of Father Gabriel's church. It's dark outside, and we see Rick with a gun in his hand, and Rick yells, "Go," telling the other group members to go. Now, in that scene that I'm talking about, I think the opposite will happen with Bob, just like it happened with Dale, because when that scene happened in the comic book, or that panel happened in the comic book, that was giving Dale back to Rick, but they was also defending themselves while they was doing it. In the scene that I just discussed about it being dark, and we see Rick yelling "Go," I think they will give Bob back to Rick, but in the process, just like in the comic book, Garrett and his people will be defending themselves. That's the reason why when Rick yells "Go," you see him with a gun and he fires the gun. And Garrett and his people are fighting back too. Also, what I think will happen in this episode, remember, in the Comic-Con trailer, we see somebody gets into Father Gabriel's church, and this person have a knife in their hand, walking in Father Gabriel's church. The same guy who has a knife in his hand, I think that will be the same guy that we see getting his skull bashed in by Abraham, because in the Comic-Con trailer, we see Abraham screaming. And Abraham has a gun in his hand, and he has the handle of the gun, and he's taking the handle of the gun, and he's bashing in somebody's skull while he's screaming, and you see blood splatter all over the camera. So I think that will happen. I think the guy that we see in Father Gabriel Church with the knife in his hand, we don't see his face, but we do know he's part of Garrett's group. He will end up sneaking in there, and as I stated, Abraham will end up catching him and bashing in his skull with the handle of his gun. Also in this episode, I think that it's possible we will see Beth make a cameo appearance within this episode, because in the previous episode we saw Beth and Carol follow a car that has the same medicine sign embedded in the windows that we saw in season 4 when Daryl had saw Beth. When Beth got kidnapped, we see Daryl looking at a car with Beth in that car, and on that car it has a medicine symbol sign on it. So we in the previous episode, Daryl and Carol just seen a car similar to the one that we saw in season 4. So at this point, Daryl and Carol is looking for, is following that car, trying to get a lead on where is Beth. In this episode we hear Sasha yell at Father Gabriel and ask, "Where are the rest of them?" Pretty much implying that before we came here we had all our group members, but now that we here, three of our group members are missing, which is Carol, Daryl, and Bob. And now at this point, remember, Rick don't trust Gabriel. So in the promo, we see Rick get very angry, and he takes Father Gabriel and he grabs him by his shirt, and he kind of pushes up on him, asking where is they, or trying to get some answers out of him in a very aggressive way. Also in this episode, what I think I covered everything I want to say in this episode. Also in this episode, this will set up the confrontation between Rick versus Garrett, because at this point, Rick don't know Garrett is still alive, but in this episode, he will find out that Garrett is still alive, so now the confrontation will get started. Because we see a scene in the Comic-Con trailer again. We see Rick staring at the camera. And also in the Comic-Con trailer, we see Rick with a gun in his hand. And on that gun, it has a silencer on that gun. Remember, in the previous episode, Glenn was the one who had found those silencers in episode 2 that just aired. He found the silencers in the empty store. He said, I found a whole bunch of silencers. He had 3. Now we see Rick with a pistol in his hand, but it looks like a silencer is on it. So we know this episode will set the battle up between Rick versus Garrett. This will happen in this episode. But like I said, I think I discussed everything I think will happen in this episode. Not too much. This episode might be a little bit predictable. A little bit, because we pretty much know it's going to follow some of the comic book material that happens. And like I said, Beth will possibly make a cameo appearance. We have to see Beth and see the status of where she's at and how she's doing. I mean, it happened with Morgan in the first episode of season 5. We saw a cameo appearance of him after the ending credits of the first episode of season 5. So we probably will see this either after the episode. We probably will see Beth even after the episode or after the ending credits of this episode. So I hope you guys enjoy my prediction speculations. Have a nice day. God bless. For more Walking Dead, as I stated. For my previous review on The Walking Dead Season 5 Episode 2 titled Strangers, click right here if you want to check that out. For my Morgan Jones, or Will Morgan Jones Find Rick in The Walking Dead Season 5 video, click right here if you want to check out that video. Have a blessed day, and peace, and thumbs up the video.